Yes, the remaining part of element 3 is emergency procedures. Emergency procedures is very important in each workplace and in each project. The reason of their importance that emergencies, incidents, accidents can happen anywhere. As an organization or as an employer, as a company, we need to be prepared to handle any emergency situation. It can be work related, it can be non-work related, it can be some natural disasters, some sandstorm, rains, flooding, whatever, bomb threats. Anything can be considered as emergency, which make the people's panic, which can cause harm, which can cause accident or some big issues. Okay, why we need? Because despite of all the precautions, things can still go wrong. Yes, that's what I explained. We are adopting or we are putting the controls whatever we can, but still there is a chance that things can go wrong. Still there is a possibility of incident and accidents. So in the group activity, what emergency situation would the following organization have to consider? Okay, here are some examples. Like these organization, a primary school, which type of emergency procedure they need to have? It depends on what type of work they have, what type of manpower, how much population. So as they mentioned, the primary school, so it means it involves the kids. They need to be manage the adverse weathers, they need to manage, ensure the crowd management, they need to ensure the uh, process and procedure of the kids going out, their transportation procedures. There can be a bomb threat because it's a school. There can be incidents or accidents in the playing area. So these are like some types of the incidents which can be happened during or in the school. So when we are managing a school, as an example, we need to ensure that the required protocol has been established and implemented in the workplace. So this is a condition where we need to think about emergency procedure, like which type and what need to be. Then a shopping center, in a shopping center also there is a crowd management that need to be included in the safety. There can be bomb threat, there can be like whatever the possible chances are there, these are the things which need to be included in the emergency procedure. Next one is emergency procedure. Okay, uh, okay, here is some Junaid, you can hear me? Junaid, you can hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you, sir.
Okay. Okay, here is something which we need to ensure during our uh, development of the emergency. As I mentioned, in the primary school, fire, first aid, bomb threat, possible severe weather, outbreak of disease, just like COVID came, so we need to take care of diseases. In chemical or manufacturing plant, there are different. In shopping center, it's different. So it depends on each place or on each workplace. Like what are the possibilities or what are the options we need to include in the emergency procedure. So the emergency procedure, the organization need to procedure to be followed. They must ensure that the procedure is developed and it's followed and it's suitable. Emergency equipments are provided, the responsible staff is available, like allocation of responsibilities has been done, training and information needs are fulfilled, drills and exercises are conducted. So to ensure the safe or a good emergency procedure, organization need to do the following things, like procedure should be followed, suitable emergency equipment to be provided, training to be provided to the workers, like what they have to do in case of emergency. For example, one person he fall from height, so what the other peoples have to do, they must know, they must be aware, they must have training of emergency protocol, emergency procedure, like on which number they will call, in which number they will contact, with whom they will contact, to whom they inform. So these all things are the things which make emergency procedures good and perfect in the workplace. Contacting emergency services, phone, mobile phones, radios, walkie-talkies can be used, or local emergency numbers like 911, or for example, in Pakistan, it's 1122, the emergency number for rescue vehicles or a rescue organization. So people must be aware, and this number must be provided everywhere, and people must be trained like how to call in emergency. What type of emergency situation might an organization need to consider? The example we have discussed about school, a chemical manufacturing unit, and a shopping center. You are developing a fire response arrangements. What key things would you include when you are going to
केमिकल
prepare?
एंड
Yes, please.
सर केमिकल जो था ना वो आपने प्राइमरी सर को थोड़ा रिपीट कर दें कभी
That is just an example. It's chemical. It can
राइट
be a shoe factory, it can be an ice factory, it can be a wood factory, it can be a warehouse. That is just an example, that if they are working in the chemical unit, chemical manufacturing unit, which type of emergency procedures or emergency precautions, or what are the items they need to have. So for the manufacturing of, so just think in your mind, when it's manufacturing means it's a use of plants and equipments, and they are conducting the chemicals. So there is a biggest thing is the chemical spillage, chemical leakage, or a gas leakage can happen. That is one thing. And if there is a chemical, there is a chance of fire. If there is a fire, a lot of things need to be done. So as we mentioned, in the school, there can be fire, there can be adverse weather, there can be disease, there can be bomb threat. Same is the in a this chemical plant or chemical manufacturing unit, that there is a chemical spillage, chemical leakage, there can be fire, there can be explosion, or there can be adverse weather effects are everywhere implemented in each and every organization, and there can be flooding of the materials, or sorry, of the chemicals, and that can cause harm to the people. There can be H2S release, or not only H2S, any other hazardous gas release can be. So these are the things need to be included in the workplace. So each workplace have their own emergency procedure. For example, if it's a corporate office, only people are sitting in the desk, there is other requirements. If it's a chemical unit, other requirements. If it's a construction site, there are other requirements. If people are working offshore, like in the sea, in the oil rig, there are other requirements. They need to have rescue equipments, they need to have boats, they need to be occupied with a helicopter to evacuate from the area. So it depends on each area, each workplace, each location have different requirements. And it also required as a legal or the geographical locations. Maybe it's a legal requirement to provide some specific sort of rescue equipments or emergency procedure. Okay, and the next unit or the last item of element 3 is requirement for and effective provision of first aid in the workplace. Let's talk about the first aid. An employee has a duty to make appropriate first aid provision for his employees, which include, so this is a duty of employer that he must ensure that appropriate first aid provisions are available, first aid facilities available in the workplace for each worker. So an appropriate location, there should be, the first aid facility must should be in a proper location which is easily accessible, and where the first aid can be given, like the space or a clinic or a first aid room or a first aid station should be occupied with the good equipment. The staff should be trained, the uh, stretcher or sitting or a janitor arrangement should be there, the required first aid material should be there, must be placed with some signages and direction signages, like this is the way to first aid, the number of first aider, their quantities, their contact details, their certificates. All these things are required in a first aid station or in the provision of first aid facility, and this is the responsibility of employer. So the three P's, what are the three P's? The purpose of first aid. The first aid, the basic principle of first aid to keep the injured person alive until professional medical assistant arrive, sometimes called the three P's. Okay. फर्स्ट एड इसलिए दी जाती है कि जो बंदा जिसको चोट लगी है, जो जख्मी हुआ है, जो इंजर्ड हुआ है, उसको उसकी जिंदगी को बचाया जा सके, तब तक, एटलीस्ट तब तक जब तक फर्दर मेडिकल असिस्टेंस या स्पेशलिस्ट मेडिकल टीम साइट पे नहीं आ जाती, until the ambulance or emergency helicopter or any other medical service not reach or not arrive to the injured person, or injured person not yet shifted to the hospital or to the medical facility, this is the requirement or the basic principle of first aid to keep him alive by giving him artificial breath, by giving him AED, by giving him mouth to mouth breathe, or whatever a first aider can do as per the condition of the injured person. Injured person, usually we say IP, I for injured, P for persons. Okay, so here are 3P, the principles: preserve life, like save the life of the person; prevent deterioration. Prevent deterioration means stop getting it worse. For example, someone have bleeding, so first aider can do something to stop the bleeding so that it will not go in adverse. Promote recovery. A first aid, when a first aid is provided in timely manners in required specific time, it will help the injured person to recover quickly and safely. Okay, personal coverage. What is required in personal first aider? Full training required, appointed person, basic training required. Okay, this also differ from country to country or region to region or organization to organization or client to client. Like, but first aider is need to be trained full time, and first aider maybe have an helper or an appointed person or a driver with him to drive the first aid. He need to have a basic training. The coverage depends on, as I told you, it vary from country to country. The general risk level, what is the risk level in the workplace? If workplace is too risky or more hazards are involved, then the number of first aiders need to be more, the arrangements need to be more. The hazards present in the workplace, accident history, if there are frequent accidents are happening in the workplace, they need to increase the numbers. Vulnerable person, yeah, if there is a peoples with the young age, if there are people with special requirements like some disabled peoples or abnormal peoples are there, or special peoples are there, then need to have more facility of the first aider. Work pattern, shift system, workplace location, geographic location. Yeah, if the workplace is too far or it's a remote area, it's in a desert, the number of first aiders need to be more. The requirement should be more, because maybe one first aider gets sick, then who will replace him? They cannot get access to the city or to the urban area or to the hospital, so they need to have the more first aider in the workplace. The separate of the workplace, spread means the area of the workplace. If workplace is too long, it's like a pipeline project which is starting from point X and going to point Z, which is like 500 kilometers. Even the number of workers is less, but the first aiders need to be more. A first aider need to be there in any possible location where a team or a group of employees is working. First aid provisions need to be there. First aid facilities we discussed, like they need to have location should be good, it should be accessible, it should be clean, hygienically, adequately heated in work environment, or the environment of the place should be good. Hand wash facilities like janitor room facility should be there. Clinical waste, medical waste removal process should be there. And in the equipment, they must have the first aid kits, they must have eye wash station, emergency showers, blankets, suppliants, rescuation equipments like stretchers, wheelchairs, other equipments as required in the workplace. Like which type of the incidents are happening or which type of the hazards are associated in the workplace, that type of materials they need to have in the first aid facility. So this is all about element 3 and emergency procedures. We have done with emergency with element 3. You have any question?
नो सर।
हाँ, okay.
सर वो सेंड
Yes.
सर मैंने ग्रुप में मैसेज किया था कि मुझे ना वो रिकॉर्डिंग सेंड कर दें सर, उसमें ये ना मैंने किया सर करने तो फिर मैंने
First of all, let me clear you. I'm not responsible to share. I'm just sharing for the benefit of you guys so that you can go through it. But don't be panic, don't be rush. All the lectures are there already. But I have other responsibilities and other tasks also. I know very well what I have to
अरे
do. I know very well. And then you are laughing in the group. I don't know
अरे
what funny I said. I didn't said anything funny, to be honest. You keep sending the message. I'm not
सॉरी
free
सर फॉर
to
दैट।
No problem. I'm
I
not free to
apologize.
check the messages every time and to respond everyone. I have my own schedules and my own assignments which I have to follow. Anyhow, I will share the recording. So
Thank you, sir.
this is our, it's a combination of both elements. We will review all the 2 points in this one. This is interesting and good for exam as well. So after this element, you will be able to explain or understand the role of active and reactive monitoring, the purpose of procedures for health and safety, the purpose of procedures for risk for incident accident investigation, legal and organizational requirements for recording and reporting the incident, explain the purpose of and procedure for regular review of health and safety performance. These are the learning outcomes of this element, and they are very important for exam. So first of all, we have active and reactive monitoring. Active monitoring is also called as proactive monitoring. The active monitorings ensure health and safety standards are correct and being met before accidents. It measures the progress. And on the other side, okay, I will explain in more detail. Active monitoring is something which helps in prevention of the accidents. This is the monitoring which is done without happening of the incident or without happening the enforcement actions on the organization. Like by self organizations, they start doing the safety inspections, they start doing the sampling, they start doing the safety surveys, they start reporting the near misses. That is a type of active monitoring. Like before anything going wrong, they already identify the hazards and they put the control measures in the workplace. The reactive monitoring is on the opposite side, like using the data of accidents, incidents, ill health, sickness. Like after the accidents happening, we use the data, we use the investigation, we use the findings to know that why this happened. Like it also helps us in finding the trends, like which type of accidents are happening. But this is reactive monitoring. Like after accident happened, when the control measures failed, accident happened, and then we have to study. After studying this accident or incident, we will be able to know why it happens, and then we can adopt the additional control measures. So performance standards, compliance, conformance or non-conformance with the standards, number and quality of risk assessments, health and safety trainings to schedule, constructive committee meeting or safety committee meetings, workplace inspections to schedule. Okay, when we talk about the reactive monitoring, in reactive monitoring, they mention like what we have to do, how many risk assessments we need to conduct, we need to develop, so that all risk in the workplace are incorporated, and accordingly the control measures are in place. Then also we decide like we need to give training to the workers, how many trainings and what is the schedule of the training. As I mentioned yesterday, if we are going to start work in confined space in the month of March, we need to start the trainings in the month of January or maximum in February. So that prior to start the work, prior to start the actual activity, the employees or the workers are already trained and they are aware about the coming activity and they are ready to perform the task. And consultative committee meetings to schedule. This is also a reactive monitoring, that meetings to be conducted with the employees with different levels, so that their consultation and feedback can be taken and their feedback can be used to adopt additional control measures, and it will help the prevention of accidents. Workplace inspections, daily inspection, weekly inspection, monthly inspection, specific inspections. For example, they set a schedule that every Saturday we will do the inspection of chemical storages. Every Monday we will do the inspection of heavy equipments. Every Friday we will do the inspections of all work at height, like that. That is a schedule for inspections which is set up in all projects. So now the inspections or types of inspections: systematic inspection like observations, plants, machinery, premises, interviewing. How we do the inspection? We can observe actual working conditions, actual workplace. We can interview the peoples, we can check their behaviors, we can ask the working methods, we can examine the procedures, we can examine, we can review the documents, safe system, method statement, permit to work. These all are the types of inspection, or this is all included in an inspection. When an inspector or a safety professional or anyone going to inspect, he maybe have a checklist with him. He will see access provided, yes, no, fire extinguishers provided, yes, no, welfare facilities provided, yes, no. That is one type of inspection that he use a checklist. This checklist have benefits and demerits also. The benefits, like he will not miss anything, and the demerits also, he just focus on the checklist. Maybe there is something else which is not covered in the checklist, because he is just focused on checklist, so he will miss that. Anyhow, let's stay in this slide. Systematic inspection,
Uh,
observation.
Sorry, sir, for interruption. What is meant by premises?
Premises area, workplace.
Workplace.
Yeah. Like for
Uh,
example, in a
oh,
warehouse, the building is the premises,
yeah.
the area. Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. So
sure.
when
Sorry,
a
sir, go ahead.
person, yeah, when a person went for observation or inspection, he can observe plant. In plant, he can observe machinery and vehicles. He can work. He can observe premises with his eyes, like workplace and working environment. He can interview the peoples. He can ask how they are working, what is their working method, and he can check the behaviors visually. And examination is about procedures, like he can check the safe system of work provided or no, method statements are provided or no, communicated or no, and permit to works are available or no. So in a systematic inspection, these three major things are included: observation, interviewing, and examination. Safety inspection, sampling, tours, and survey, these are the same inspections but have different names because of their qualities. Safety inspection is examination of workplace. It can be required by government, statutory, it can be for plant and machinery, it can be a pre-use inspection of the workplace or pre-use inspection of the plant and equipment. That is normal, very simple, anyone can do. Some person is going to the site, he can check 1 2 3 4 5 things are good, 1 2 3 4 5 things are bad. That is a safety inspection. Okay, safety sampling, representative sampling to judge compliance. What is sampling? The workplace is consisting of 10 units, but a responsible person or a safety professional, he don't have time to check all units. So what he will do, from 1 to 10, he will go to, for example, unit 3 and then unit 9. Then he will see if unit 3 and 9 in compliance, means the others are also the same. That is a sampling. It's less time consuming. Here you don't need to go in every sector. In every section you can go for 2 and then assume that all are the same. Then the safety survey is a detailed examination of one issue or one topic. Yes, survey is for one topic. For example, it can be a welfare facilities survey. This survey will be sent by link, by mobile, or by in a paper shape to all the employees in the workplace, like what you think about the welfare facilities, is it okay or no. That is a safety survey. Then safety tours is a high profile when senior management involves in health and safety. Maybe it can be weekly, it can be monthly, and it can be planned. Yes, it can be planned that on this date the senior management is going to visit. That is known as safety walkthrough or safety tour in the workplace. Other standards, health surveillance and benchmarking. Okay, health surveillance is the physical health. It's a proactive or active monitoring. In this monitoring, the employer or the organization, they conduct the medical checkup of their employees. Are fit for work? They don't have high blood pressure. They don't have high stress. They are not. They are not having some cardiac or heart problems, like that. That is a medical surveillance, health surveillance. So it shows effective control. If there is some people, they are having heat stress, or they have issue with the heat, or they have a problem in the blood pressure, or they are facing high stress issues, so task can be assigned to them with less tension. or with less focus so that they can be relaxed in the workplace. Anyhow, that is a health surveillance and that is a active or proactive monitoring. Benchmarking is comparing with other similar organizations. For example, organization A is producing the shoes, or it's a shoes manufacturing unit, and organization B is also same in same locality under the same legislation, so they can do the benchmarking. Like this organization have adopted these things and they are saving their peoples in that way. They are helping the peoples, or they are very good in health and safety. So benchmarking is the same. So they can do the same for their organization. That is benchmarking or comparison with similar organization. Workplace inspections, when we conduct or when we arrange a workplace inspection, we need to do the following things. We need to consider the following factors, like type of inspections, which type of inspection, is it a safety sample, safety tour, safety survey, type of inspection, frequency of inspection, like how often the inspection is required. Is it required weekly, daily, monthly, hourly, or continuous? Allocation of responsibilities, who is responsible to do the inspection, competence of the inspector, objectives of the inspectors, use of checklist, action planning for problem found, training for inspectors. Like when we plan an inspection, or when we develop an inspection plan, we need to consider that is the person who is responsible is competent, he know the workplace very well, he is able to do the inspection, and he should give a time frame and action plan to fix the problems or the issues found in the workplace. Then examples of inspection. Yeah, for example, if it's a bank head office, the purpose is to monitor of health and safety standards. The frequency, it can be monthly because there is no physical activities. There is no use of materials, substances, chemicals, or plants. There's no use of jacksaw. There is no use of drill or grinders. There is no welding. There is no hot work. So monthly inspection for these staff, and all the peoples are competent and educated. So monthly inspection is enough. And who can do? The floor manager or the shift manager, he can do that inspection. Competence 1 day course, if we give 1 day training to a person in a floor or in a shift or in a level that this is the inspection required in your workplace, he can do, because it's a bank office, there is not much hazards involved. So inspection checklist can be provided, a written checklist. Yes, this is a checklist. You have to ensure that fire extinguishers are inspected. You need to check that the electrical appliances, electrical sockets are inspected. Monthly color coding is provided. You need to ensure that all first aid kits are inspected and they are maintained properly with the required supplies, and a follow-up action plan can be provided, like what are the findings, to whom he will address, and how much time he will give to close the findings. Use of checklist, I just discussed advantage and disadvantage. Advantages are all points covered, consistent approach, form of written record. Disadvantages may ignore items not on the checklist. That is the only disadvantage. That, for example, they develop a checklist, but it's developed by humans and the human error is there. They miss the inspection, or they miss to include the fire extinguishers. So because it's not included, the inspector, what he will do, he will just focus on tick yes or no, but he will not think that what is missing in the checklist. Group activity, list of the topics, heading that should be included on inspection checklist for use in your workplace. For example, you are working or you are not working. In both issues, you need to prepare a checklist showing your workplace hazards. It can be your school, it can be your house, it can be your warehouse, it can be your job. You can develop a checklist. Okay, the next is workplace inspections. Typical inspections are for fire, housekeeping, environment, traffic routes, chemical safety, mechanical safety, electrical welfare. This is only examples. If the workplace is a construction site, it's different. If workplace is chemical unit, it's different. If workplace is a school, is a hospital, it's different. So it depends on the workplace, like how is the workplace and what are the hazards in the workplace. These should be included in the workplace inspections. Allocation of responsibilities. Inspections must follow through into an action. Like if there is an inspection, of course, there are some findings. So these findings should be fixed properly and there should be an action plan. Action required, for example, there are fire extinguishers sorry, damaged or outdated. Inspector found that fire extinguishers not inspected and maintenance is required. So that is the action, and then he will allocate who is the one responsible person is the maintenance technician, which day he can give as per the requirements, like 5 days, 6 days, 10 days, or as per the urgency of the work. Effective report writing, we should continue with this or no? Okay, we continue on the effective report writing. Report writing should be effective. It should be in a language which is easy to understand. It should be free of jargons, free of abbreviations. If it's abbreviations, the definitions should be provided. It should be clear and to the point. This is the effective report writing. Like when you submit your report to someone, he read and he must understand it properly. There should be nothing question marks on the report. The structure should be like executive summary. On the top in the heading, what is the purpose of the inspection? The inspection has been conducted to identify the workplace hazards, blah, blah, blah. And then introduction, who is going to do and who are the participants in the inspection, their name and their signatures. Then content, the significant or the major findings should be on the top with high risk, and the findings with low risk should be on the last. And the justified recommendations, like what you, for example, you find that the staircase has been broken. So what is the recommendation? Staircase should be repaired and fixed properly to avoid any incident in the workplace. That is a type of justification. That is not mandatory required, but if it's provided, that is good. So here is the table. You can see type of recommendation: tidy the office, priority medium, time scale 1 week, responsible person, office supervisor. For example, the inspector, he found that the office is not in a tidy condition. Everywhere there is material, like not material, the files or the table or the wires are scattered here and there. It's a messy condition. So he mentioned the observation and he marked it on medium priority, and he gave time scale for 1 week, and he also assigned the person who have to confirm that. Okay, now again reactive monitoring, dealing with the things that went wrong. When accidents happened, incidents happens, then we are investigating, then we are finding out the reasons. We are getting the data from different authorities, statistics from inside and outside, the trends of the incidents, the highlights or the concerns. These all are the things which are included in reactive monitoring, and reactive monitoring is used to prevent the reoccurrence of the same event. For example, an accident happened in the workplace while a driver hit a person reversing. So they use the data that there is an accident happened, that a driver hit someone while reversing, so they can adopt the control, they can prohibit the reversing in the workplace. They can make it a turning circle, they can make it a drive through to eliminate the reversing of the equipments. This is how we use the how we do the reactive monitoring. Statistics are accident, danger occurrence, near misses, ill health, absence, enforcement actions. It helps to find out the trends. It helps to set the pattern, like how these accidents are happening. This all I explained to you. And the group discussion is organization has two sides carrying out similar operations. Company A have 300 workers and have 10 accidents. Company B have 150 workers and had 5 accidents. What is the better safety performance? This is a question for you guys. Like there is organization A and B. Organization A have 300 workers and they have 10 accidents in 1 month. Organization B have 150 workers and they have 5 accidents in same time. The location is same, geographic conditions are same, activity is the same. So just tell me which one is better in safety. That's it for today. And tomorrow we will continue from the next slide, from the next section, inshallah. And we will try to fix or finish our slide by tomorrow. Any questions so far for today?
सर एक्टिव मॉनिटरिंग को सर रिपीट कर दें. एक्टिव
Active monitoring. Okay. We need to rejoin the class because the session is going to expire in 1 minute. So it will be finished and then I will rejoin again.